So here's how it goes. For individuals that are untrained, meaning they have been doing resistance exercise for anywhere from 0, probably out to about 2 years, although for some people it might be 0 to 1 year, but those are the so-called beginners. They're sort of untrained. For those people, the key parameter seems to be to perform enough sets of a given exercise per muscle per week. Okay. The same is also true for people that have been training for 1 or 2 years or more. What differs is how many sets to perform depending on whether or not you're trained or untrained. So let's say you're somebody who's been doing some resistance exercise kind of on and off over the years, and you decide you want to get serious about that for sake of sport or offsetting age-related declines in strength. The range of sets to do in order to improve strength, to activate these cascades in the muscle, ranges anywhere from 2, believe it or not, to 20 per week. Again, these are sets per week, and they don't necessarily all have to be performed in the same weight training session. I will talk about numbers of sessions. So it appears that 5 sets per week in this 30% to 80% of the 1 repetition maximum range, getting close to failure or occasionally actually going to full muscular failure, which isn't really full muscular failure, but the inability to generate a contraction of the muscle or move the weight in good form. I'll go deeper into that in a moment. But about 5 sets per week is what's required just to maintain your muscle. So think about that. If you're somebody who's kind of averse to resistance training, you are going to lose muscle size and strength. Your metabolism will drop. Your posture will get worse. Everything in the context of nerve to muscle connectivity will get worse over time unless you are generating 5 sets or more of this 30% to 80% of your 1 repetition maximum per week. Okay, so what this means is for the typical person who hasn't done a lot of weight training, you need to do at least 5 sets per muscle group. Now, that's just to maintain. And then there's this huge range that goes all the way up to 15 and in some case 20 sets per week. Now, how many sets you perform is going to depend on the intensity of the work that you perform. This is where it gets a little bit controversial, but I think nowadays most people agree, and Dr. Galpin confirmed that 10%, not to be confused with the 10% we discussed earlier, but 10% of the sets of a given workout or 10% of workouts overall should be of the high intensity sort where one is actually working to muscular failure. Now, I say not true muscular failure because in theory, you have a concentric movement, which is the kind of lifting of the weight, and then you have the eccentric portion of muscle contraction, which is the lowering.